Hello everybody, and thanks for joining us today. Today we're going to be talking about how to make saltwater a cheap and easy effective way. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and don't forget to like the video. Any support is greatly appreciated. So, in order to make saltwater, first we're going to need a few things. We're going to need a bucket, an air tubing kit with 3 feet of tubing, and preferably the kit that comes with the gray valve. We're going to need a pure waterification sink adapter that you can get at your local store. And we're also going to need supplements and nutrients to add to our water after it has been ran off and brought up to temp. We are going to be needing at least a 50 watt heater to bring our water up to temperature after it came off from our faucet. And you don't have to have it, but a Powerhead does make the mixing process a lot more easier. And we're also going to be needing a measuring cup to measure our salt from our bucket to place into our water. We're also going to need a refractometer or a salinity gauge to be able to measure our progress as we mix our salt water. So now that we have everything, we're going to take the 3 feet of tubing and we're going to take that outside of our bucket and place that inside the sink. And we're going to insert our gray valve into our pure waterification sink adapter, and we're going to turn the cold water on full blast. And we're going to let this run for 10 seconds without turning the valve to allow any sediments that have built up in our pipes to be flushed out before they go into our filter. After 10 seconds has elapsed, we're going to take the hose out of the bucket and place it in the sink, and then turn the pure waterification sink adapter on, and again run it for 10 seconds to allow any sediments or anything that's built up within the filter to be flushed out. Once this 10 seconds has elapsed, we need to place the hose inside our bucket and then allow the bucket to fill a little bit of water inside it, and then pick the bucket up, swirl it around to remove any dust, debris, hair that may have gotten in the bucket since we've had it in a storage unit, and dump that out to make sure that our water is completely clean and pure. So we're going to go ahead and let this bucket sit inside our sink with the cold water all the way on full blast. Do not use the hot water on these systems. If you use hot water on them, you will blow the filtration media right out of the filter. Now that our water has came up to temperature of 78 degrees, we're going to take a Powerhead and place that inside the bucket. You don't have to use a Powerhead, but this really helps with mixing the salt water and keeping it moving so that you don't have any large clumps at the bottom. We're going to verify that our Powerhead is working by seeing that the water flow is on top. All the water is moving quite rapidly. And I like to take my heater and place it so it stays tucked just next to the Powerhead. So now we have our salt, in this case instant ocean reef crystals, and we're going to be adding it as directed on the back of the bucket. When we open up our bucket, we want to make sure that it's free-flowing salt, that there's no large lumps or clumps inside. I know if I take my measuring gauge here, it says on the back of the bucket, to a salinity gravity of 0.026 at the temperature of 70 degrees, my calcium is going to start out at 455 parts per million, and my magnesium levels is going to be 1,345 parts per million. Different salts have different types of additives in them. You can buy salt that has additives in them, and you can also buy salt for saltwater aquariums that is just plain salt. Always read the back of the bucket and follow the directions according to what they say. For this directions, we're going to mix a half a cup of salt for every gallon of water. So we're going to take our measuring cup and we're going to slowly trickle the salt into the water, just like this. It is very important to do so to allow the salt to be able to dissolve itself within the water. When salt is added in a large quantity, this does not give the salt time to dissipate within the water, and it will clump up on the bottom of the bucket, and those clumps will turn rock hard and will not disintegrate. So what you do not want to do is directly dump the salt into your water, as shown. that would create large clumps and lumps in the bottom of your bucket, even if you have a Powerhead on like I do here. So now I'm going to take the last of my salt, which is 4 1/4 cups, to get me a 0.026 salinity in this 5-gallon bucket I'm mixing up. We're going to continue slowly trickling it in until we have it to exactly where we need it to be. Taking your hand and placing it in the bottom of the bucket ensures that all the salt in the bottom of the bucket is mixed up and that there's no hard clumps or lumps in the bottom. And when you've done this, hover your arm over the saltwater bucket to allow any salt water to drip into the bucket, and then use a on-hand towel to dry your hand and arm off promptly. So now we're going to take a refractometer or a salinity gauge, either which one of your choice, and we're going to check our salinity. If you notice, if you check your salinity when you first mix the water up within the first 5 minutes, your first test may very well differ from the second test, as you see here. The first test said it was at 0.18 salinity. Now the second test is at 0.028. This just goes to show how you need to wait for the salt water to be completely mixed before you attempt to try to gain an accurate reading, so you can know if you need to add more salt or add more fresh water to raise or lower the salinity to your desired level. So once we have our salinity gauge, measuring our salinity to where we want it at 0.026, that is it. As soon as our salinity matches our tank salinity, and as long as our temperature of our bucket matches the temperature of our tank, we can do a very quickly and evenly swap of water without doing any more stress or harm to the fish. But that is going to do it for this video, guys. If you liked the video, please hit the thumbs up button, and please subscribe if you haven't already. And always remember, everybody, happy reefing, happy life.